Welcome to my next From Season 2 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you're not caught up to the point where I am every watch you're watching from, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which, of course, I'll mention as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. Now, I've already seen every episode of From thus far. I'm reviewing every episode to get ready for Season 3 of From, which I will cover on the channel, so come back to the channel and watch those videos within about 24 hours, depending on when they actually air, which I don't know off the top of my head. I know it's going to come out on the 22nd. I'm a big fan of the show. I don't think the show's amazing, but I'm intrigued. I am worried that the show will end with a lackluster, like M. Night Shyamalan bad twist ending, but we shall see. But I want to cover the show for all of you that like this show. So make sure you come back to the channel to watch every review video. So with all that said, this will be From Season 2, Episode 4. The title of this episode is called This Way Gone, and this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start off with a flashback. Christy helps Tien Chen and Kenny move his father into the clinic. His father does not like the idea, particularly the fact that his family is not moving with him. Kenny's father says he will get better soon and agrees to his new accommodations. Kenny leaves to fetch his things and is found by Boyd, who says he heard that they had an incident, and Kenny explains that the creatures were knocking on the door and his father was convinced that his brothers were outside, so he pushed his wife when she tried to stop him. And Boyd sympathizes knowing how hard it is seeing one's parents struggle, and Kenny says it looks like they're doing a good job, and Boyd offers him the job of deputy, and Kenny happily accepts that. Back to current time, Kenny runs and finds Boyd. It says he needs to urgently show him something. Julie finds her mother in the kitchen and, noticing the disturbed expression on Tabitha's face, asks if she's okay. Realizing that she just had another vision, Tabitha asks Julie to watch Ethan while she talks to her father, but Julie tells her mother that she can confide in her. Tabitha confesses that it happened again, but insists that she is fine, but simply needs to talk to Jim, and hugs her daughter. Ethan comes downstairs and asks where Tabitha is going. Before Julie can answer, Jade enters and rudely asks if the Matthews are living with the Lus now. Ethan points out that their house collapsed, but Jade rudely complains about how they finally got rid of the colony house people, the hippies at the colony house, but now have to deal with them. Julie rolls her eyes at Jade and takes Ethan to see Victor. Kenny takes Boyd to the church basement, showing him that he has found Sarah, surprising Sheriff Boyd, and Boyd tells Kenny to give them a minute to speak in private. After Kenny reluctantly leaves, Sarah says she is glad Boyd is okay. Boyd asks Sarah where she went, and she explains that she was transported by the tree back to the church basement, and asks Boyd where he went. Boyd asks her how she knew that the tree was, what tree was, and Sarah tells him that the boy in white, who told her both about the tree and that Nathan was right, and the place was now angry. Sarah says that the boy is different than the other voices, that he wants to help but is unsure how to do so. Boyd tells her that he is glad that she is back, but her being back will cause problems, and they need to figure out how to handle it. And Sarah tells him he knows what he needs to do, and that he always knew it would end this way. Boyd says he will talk to Kenny. As he leaves, she asks if he told Kenny about what happened at the clinic, and he answers no, and goes upstairs to Kenny. Boyd tries to explain how Sarah is uniquely connected to this place, and how Father Khatri figured it out and tried to use it to understand where they are. Kenny asks if she has been in the basement since Khatri's death, and Boyd admits she accompanied him into the forest, but adds that she is the only reason he is still alive. And Boyd tries to defend her actions, but slips up and mentions that she killed multiple people, but is able to cover it up. Kenny insists that she go in the box, but Boyd angrily refuses that. Boyd's ears begin to ring, and he goes outside, for some air, sees worms crawling beneath his skin, and collapses on the ground, prompting Kenny to call for help. Julie arrives with Ethan at the Colony House. While Ethan goes upstairs, Julie finds Fatima and congratulates her on her engagement. Fatima asks her to be a bridesmaid, explaining that Ellis does not want to wait for them to get married, so they're going to get married in town. Julie happily accepts, and Fatima thanks her. Julie then mentions how she saw Elgin outside, and Fatima tells her that he is having a rough time. Julie offers to talk to him, remembering how nice it was when she had that. Upstairs, Ethan knocks on Victor's door repeatedly until he is let in, and Victor asks him what he wants. He's annoyed, and Ethan says he was worried and wanted to check on him, and Victor asks if he will steal anything else, and Ethan explains that he tried to stop Jade. Victor tells him he should have done a better job. Ethan mentions that Victor saved his mother, and Victor replies that she is nice, and Ethan is lucky to have a mother like her. Ethan then asks what he is drawing, and Victor says he is drawing things he and Tabitha saw. Ethan asks him what they saw, but Victor tells him to leave him alone. Ethan gives Victor some markers he found in the storage closet and apologizes again for angering Victor, and Victor merely says, okay, leaving Ethan dejected. Yeah, he's just a kid. I mean, come on, be a little bit more nicer. But, I mean, Victor is kind of a kid, too. We don't know what's up with Victor. Julie and Elgin introduce themselves to each other, and Elgin asks about Jim. Julie admits that he is in rough shape and resting. Elgin asks if she has been here long, and she admits that she has only been in town a relatively short amount of time. Julie tells him that she is there if he needs anyone to talk, which he appreciates. And Ethan comes outside and says he wants to go home. So Ethan is a little demanding little boy, and he's really annoying as a character thus far. I get it, but he's unlikable as a character, in my opinion. Christy checks on Boyd, who insists that he is simply tired. Boyd asks about her spider bites, which Christy examines. Christy notices the gash on his arm, and he says it was a scratch from a tree branch. Christy instructs him to keep it clean and asks if his tremors have worsened. Boyd answers that they come and go, but he is dealing with it. Christy asks if he has experienced any other symptoms, such as visual impairment, muscle stiffness, or depression. Boyd quips that everyone in the town is depressed, but suffers from none of the other symptoms. Boyd recalls that his father's mind started to be affected towards the end. Christy says that cognitive impairment doesn't happen until far further down the line, but gets worried and asks why he is bringing it up, and Boyd insists that he is fine, but Christy tells him that he needs to rest and cannot afford any stress. And then Boyd laughs bitterly about how anyone in the town could avoid any stress, and Boyd tries to rise but falls back down on the bed, and Christy tells him to stay put. Tin Chen gives Kenny a container of food and tells him to sit and eat. Kenny says it's for Boyd, who is not feeling well, and Tin Chen replies that both work too hard. Before he leaves, Tin Chen asks if he talked to Christy, and Kenny replies that he knew she was engaged and just wants to see her, wants her to be happy seeing the people unloading the bus. Kenny tells his mother that she should help them. Jade bursts in and finds Bacta drinking alone. Jade complains about how he can't find anywhere to be alone before realizing that she is the bus driver, apologizing before sitting down. And Bacta says that that Elgin begged her to return around and she didn't listen, blaming herself for their predicament. Jade asks if he asked before or after they saw the tree, and then Bacta answers after, and Jade tells her that they were already trapped then, so she shouldn't blame herself for that. And then Bacta explains that the passengers got on her bus, and it was her job to get them to their destination safely. And then Jade mocks her for being self-pitying, telling her that it is not her fault and she is free to feel bad, but should not carry any extra guilt over things out of her control. Jade then jokes that the people were on the bus, so could not have been great for them that they're driving a bus or riding on a bus. And Bacta laughs after giving him a look and reveals that she is not even was not even supposed to be driving that day. She took the job to pay for her degree and had just paid off her tuition, but decided to stay on the job for a few more weeks so she could treat herself with the extra money. The two then toast to getting what they deserve. Tabitha visits Jim at the clinic, but does not find him in bed. She looks for him. She finds Marielle looking through the medicine cabinet. Tabitha asks her who she is, and Marielle introduces herself and explains that she is a nurse and was helping Christy with inventory. Tabitha asks her about her husband, and Marielle says that he left a while ago. Tabitha finds him looking at the bus passengers unload their belongings and scolds him for not resting. Jim directs her to their collapse house and explains that the entire night he was trapped, he asked the question of why this happened to them. They then overhear Randall criticizing Tien Chen for taking the belongings of the deceased, and Jim then informs Tabitha that Christie's fiance was on the bus. He then voices his belief that the town is all messed up, the town is all a messed up experiment. He reveals that the radio worked, but they haven't told anyone, and that the voice on the other end addressed him by name and said Tabitha shouldn't be digging right before the house collapsed. Tabitha then asks if anyone else heard the voice. Boyd washes his face and exits the bathroom, only to find a vision of Father Khatri, telling him that it is his move, but his options are limited. Boyd asks if this isn't real, and the vision of Father Khatri asks if he really wants to focus on what can and cannot be real. Boyd says that between the mystery boy sending people through magic trees, the tremors, and the worms beneath his skin, they have a lot more to talk about. Khatri suggests that they talk about what is really on his mind, how Boyd will tell Kenny that Sarah killed his father. Khatri asks what belief there is in Kenny knowing that Boyd betrayed him, and Boyd reminds him that it was his idea to hide Sarah and keep her alive. And Khatri says this is why he needs to stay quiet, asking whether Boyd thinks this will help Kenny or just relieve his own guilt. Khatri tells him that leaders need to make tough decisions and cannot be everyone's friend. Therefore, he needs to make the decision to lie to Kenny. Boyd insists that he will not lie, but Khatri reminds him of what Ella said about everyone needing something to hold on to, and that Boyd is now Kenny's father figure. And then Khatri concludes by telling Boyd that broken people do not survive this place. Jim tries to talk to a busy Donna about the voice that they heard on the radio. Donna pulls him aside and says she heard the spooky voice. Jim reminds her that this means that there are people watching them. Donna asks how this is a good thing, reminding him that after he ran off, the lights exploded and Clara almost got blinded. Donna tells him that if there are people watching them, they definitely aren't helping, asking what will happen when they find out that they know about them. Donna further asks how he knows it was a person, reminding him that the creatures look and talk exactly like normal people. And then Donna tells him that she is not saying to ignore the voice, but he already got people's hopes up with the tower. Jim tries to say this means they should pursue it, but Donna tells him that they should keep quiet until they know more. Jim asks where is the radio tower, and Donna says it's in back, but got damaged in the storm. Donna then overhears a commotion in the other room and tells Jim not to do anything until she says so before going to investigate. Randall argues with someone who is going through his belongings. Randall gets angry and beats up the man. Donna arrives, and when Randall explains, she tries to remind him of the rules, but Randall angrily cuts her off and insists that people stay out of his stuff. Donna tries to say that they have a way of doing things in the colony house, but he says that his way is to beat anyone who touches his belongings and leaves a furious Donna. Kenny asks how Sarah saved Boyd's life. Sarah says it's hard to explain, and Kenny continues to ask about the voices she hears, which caused her to kill Nathan and almost kill Ethan. Kenny continues to ask how her first thought wasn't she was going crazy or it was a bad idea. And Sarah says that he does not understand, and he asks her to help him do so, saying that he wants to believe Boyd and back him up, but people will freak out when they learn about her, which will undermine Boyd, I should say, not undetermined. Kenny continues to say that he thought of her as a friend, and his mother adores her, and asks again for her to convince him that she does not deserve the box. Sarah says she cannot, but that Boyd gave her a chance she did not deserve, and she cannot undo what she has done. Kenny insists that they can help, reminding her that the town is hard on everyone. Sarah asks him to stop and says there is something that she needs to tell him. Fatima approaches Donna in the Colony House kitchen and asks if she is all right, having heard about the fight. Fatima says he'll come around, but Donna says that she knows his type and that he will view everything as a personal attack. Fatima suggests that they tweak the rules, and Donna retorts that they should give him a whole wing of the house. Donna then gets an axe and leaves to find Randall, followed by a concerned Fatima. Donna confronts Randall, ordering him to leave if he does not like the rules. Randall refuses, and Donna swings the axe into the wall above his head. Donna then escorts him to the bus, which is being parked by the side of the road. Then they find Bacta, who explains that she didn't want people to have to stare at it while they are eating, and leaves. Donna tells Randall that this will be his new home and explains how to use the talisman to ward off any of the creatures. Randall says she's made her point, but Donna tells him that not wanting people to go through his stuff is one thing, but attacking her people is another. Donna says that even after all he has seen, he can't process that it's all real, so he will live in the bus with no shades on the windows, so he'll realize that there is no way out. Boyd walks up to church. Tilly introduces herself, remarking that the town was not her preferred destination and that she heard that there had been quite an adventure. Boyd says that he has to talk with his deputy, and Tilly informs him that she saw Kenny heading to the clinic. There, Boyd finds Kenny staring at the spot where he found his father's body. Kenny tells Boyd that before their arrival, he had never seen his mom cry, but now he hears her sobbing every night because she is convinced that it was her fault that his father died because he opened the clinic doors. And then Kenny reveals that Sarah told him that she opened the doors, and Boyd admits that he found out the night before he left. Boyd tries to say he was going to tell him, but a furious Kenny asks when he planned to do that and insists that she go in the box. Boyd refuses. Kenny, heartbroken over his betrayal by his father figure, removes his badge, puts it on the ground, and tells Boyd to watch his own back. And that's what ends this episode of From. Pretty good stuff, but no crazy creatures or anything like that. So I'm going to score it a 7.4 out of 10. My characters of the episode are going to be Kenny, Donna, and Boyd. Jim was good too, but he didn't have a lot of moments in this episode. So you've heard everything I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of From, want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure to go Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of From. What would you rate it? Who would be your characters of the episode? Remember to come back to the channel for my From Season 3 reviews once the episodes start to air. Should be within 24 hours of the first episode airing. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the channel anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the video, or join the team. Show your damn support and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.